What's up, everybody? My name is Tiffany Hillcook. I run a spiritual practice called the Healing Hill, and my channel is all about love, resources, and raising the vibration of Earth. Today's video in particular is sharing a lie that I was told as a child. And if I was told this lie, if I was imprinted this program, this conditioning, I can guarantee somebody else was. You were made for so much more than just to work till you're 65, retire, and then die, okay? That was a lie, and that is a lie. Hang tight, I'll see you soon, and we're gonna chat more about it. Great to see you again. Before we get into it, I just have to do the obligatory hello from one of the other staff members here. This is Buttermilk. She is certainly a guide, I'll tell you that much. She has taken me, she wants me to rub her little toes. She has taken me on some magical journeys in this life, and I love her. All right. The other day, I was driving, and I was driving behind a bus, and the bus was dropping off children after school. And they get to a stop. Of course, if you're in the United States, my ignorance, I don't know what school bus is, or even if other countries have school buses. But in the United States, they stop, and then, there's a lot of lights, and there's a stop sign that comes out of the bus, just indicating for both directions of traffic to stop, and that there's children coming out. Well, out comes these little kids, and they get out of the bus, and they end up crossing the street, and there were two of them, and I'm gonna say one was 5, one was 7. And they've got these big ass fucking backpacks on their back, like so big that it's like bigger than their actual torso. And they have little lunch boxes, and they're walking across the street, and it just shared with me that we are sending children to school like the same hours that an adult would work, 8 to 5. And their little lunchbox one day is just going to get swapped out with a fucking briefcase. And that, really at that age, you have some self-awareness, but not nearly as much. I mean, you are a child. You're still discovering things that your body can do, and, space, and figuring out, just what it even means to be a human. And it just reminded me of how much programming we receive, not only from our parents, but also from society around who you're supposed to be, what you're supposed to fucking do, how you're not only the what, but how you're supposed to do it. There's a certain way to show up, and there's even like sometimes I'll see groups of people, like I see it more with girls, and maybe it's because I am a girl, but it's like they all look alike. They're all wearing it's like we've become lemmings, and you are so unique. There is no one there. Your DNA has never existed before, and it will never exist again. That is how unique you are. And I've said this before in other videos, I don't care if you have a twin. You still have different fingerprints. You still have different experiences. Your twin is going to go to the bathroom, and you're going to be in the bedroom still. And those are 2 different life experiences. So I don't care if the genetic makeup is very similar. Your lives are still very different. And so part of my purpose is to help give people permission to let their freak flag fly. And, you know, in 2020, I had a spiritual awakening. And sometimes people, a spiritual awakening followed by a dark night of the soul. So I had a few moments that led up to this one marker moment where God manifested himself to me. And I use the word him. God is everything, but in order to, create more of a personal relationship, I use the word him, or the pronouns him. But we could use she, it doesn't matter. One day, God presented himself to me, and a tree, I'll never forget, it was a pussy willow tree, that I owned, and it was just a little guy. I had bought it at like a local grocery store earlier that year, and it was inside my house, and suddenly I'm staring at it, and all of the leaves turned to gold. And I'd never believed in God before that. I thought people that believed in God were fucking idiots. But what had prompted that experience is I had quit a job. My Pepper, other staff member. I had quit a job, and it was my first and only big kid corporate job. And that is what I was programmed to be and aspire to be, is this high career woman, strong, very masculine energy. Like, I'm still discovering more of my feminine energy and what it feels like to be in that. Masculine, that would have been my more comfort zone. And I worked in sales. It was like domination, competitiveness, work hard, party even harder. I'm an alcoholic. I haven't drank since August 4th of 2020, but that runs in my veins. And what had prompted that tree experience was I had quit my job, and it was such a toxic, it was a cult is what I refer to it as. No ability to question leadership, and they used my own values against me. It's no wonder I found this company, because it was so similar to the energy of my mother. And so we will seek energy that we know. It's like, I don't know if you ever have a buddy, like I used to do drugs back in the day. You always had that one friend that could score drugs, like at a concert. There's an energy to it. They are being pulled into that. They find people through the energy of it. But so I'd quit my job, and I had worked since I was 13. And also, I'm a type 3 on the Enneagram, and we're all about workability. It's beautiful in the sense that we grease the wheels of society. Like even I wait tables in the evenings while my business is growing. And I really enjoy all the souls that I work with. It's certainly souls that I knew before. And I just enjoy them. I really love them. And sometimes we have pre-shift meetings. I would call it fine dining. It's a steakhouse. And so we'll go over specials. Where did our oysters come from today? Do we have any dry aged steak? Sometimes the fucking meeting, my boss is a type 3 as well. He doesn't know he's a type 3. And if you've ever been around a 3, they like to talk a lot. And not only a lot, but about themselves a lot. In the sense of bragging. 3s can be one-uppers. And I was a liar in a lot of sense. Like, I would tell these white lies all the time. And even as the words were coming out of my mouth, I was like, why did I say that? And this would be the example. Like, what would be a white lie? What would be a white lie? I can't even think of something right now. But I just was always kind of flubbing the truth to make me seem cooler, or make me seem however in that moment I was trying to be. But in our pre-shift meetings, sometimes it's like it just go on, and I'm the first to say, all right, are we done? Because it's like as a group, it's time to move forward. And so 3s are really great about like starting things and making it happen. And we can be excellent community organizers and planners, because innately I can see the power in the room. And not power in the sense of domination, but shareability and workability. You you look like you'd be great at that. Were you interested in that? Awesome. How comfortable do you feel with running that group? I need 3 more people in that group. You feel confident? So 3s are really great at empowering others, and authenticity is my superpower. This tree had manifested to gold, and what prompted it was, even the same day that I quit this job, that I was there 8 years, but I say close to a decade, and I get that 8 is not 10. But it was like, even at the organization, they used to say, like, if a year was 7 years somewhere else, like they called it dog years. And that was something that really bought me into the company. You know, not everybody can make it in sales. You know, there's a high turnover rate, and it's like, well, I got something to fucking prove. I'll prove it. And every day more of my soul was dying. But what I know is that career, that job, was a huge part of the development of my soul in this lifetime. I've been watching some pre-birth planning videos, and, you know, it's just, I just have so much gratitude for this life and this very moment. And if you would have asked me that 5 years ago, wouldn't have been able to even, I would have fucking lied to you and said I was happy, but I didn't even know what happiness was. So I'm a 3. I quit this job, and already the same day I resign, I'm like, what am I going to do for work? What am I going to do for work? What am I going to do for work? Like, I'd never not worked. And it's not even like financially. I mean, I was on track that year I was like at 225,000. That was what I was on track to make that year. Albeit COVID happened, so who knows what, you know, how many people I had planned on getting to work. Like I said, I worked in staffing and recruiting, but it was going to be the best year I'd ever had. And it was more around my ego, and this is what my worth is, and this is my existence. And already these veils were starting to lift, in the sense that there was this knowing that there's something inside of my heart that if I follow my heart, the rest of whatever I am seeking or needing will take care of itself. And I'm going to give you some imagery. It's like, imagine if today I decided to put a backpack on and walk across the United States to Vermont. I can guarantee you, if I had no fucking money on my back, I'd be able to do it. I know how to manipulate energy now to get any and every food item I would ever need, every trip that I would ever need. I know how to call that energy in now. And I know how bizarre that sounds, or could sound, but we are master creators. And so I remember my place, which I'll show you a little bit of my office here. As you can see, there are plants everywhere. I love plants. And I remember thinking to myself, I love plants. Could I do something with plants? What could I do with plants? I really love plants. And as I was having this internal dialogue and opening, that is when the tree turned to gold. And that is when I knew, for starters, God was real. In that moment, no words or anything were spoken to me. It was simply the soul of God. And my whole body was electric and on fire. I've had other experiences where I've had my dog talk to me. And maybe I'll share about that later. 2020 was full of magical revelations. And so I thought to myself, holy shit, God's real. And anything that I touch, if it is with the intentions are pure. And again, I didn't have that language even the day before. We are born with amnesia. We are eternal. We are so much more expansive than this body, mind, and soul combination allow us to see. And so I was like, okay. Then it was like the mission to discover what ignites inside of me. And there were so many other magical moments that year. And what I chose to do, and I still choose to do, was I started to see that at a very, just conception even, I don't know exactly when the soul enters the body. And I'll give you an example. There's something that's called a walk-in. And I actually thought I was a walk-in. I don't know if I am. It doesn't really matter to me. When I first discovered what this experience was, I really wanted to put labels on it. But where I'm at now in my journey, it's just not important to have as many labels. The ego likes labels. Like, even if someone were to ask me to introduce myself, it's like, I'm 39, I'm from Eastern Washington, I have, my parents are divorced. Like, no, it's more like I'm a human right now, manifesting as an expression of the universe. No, period. I don't know what else. And when you start to put more limitations, titles, you limit yourself. I'm a little bit, hold on one second. Where were we? Thank you guys so much for joining me. So that year I started to rewrite what I call agreements. A great book is this one, The 4 Agreements, Chef's Kiss. And the first agreement, which really helped me, and I found this book about a month before I quit the cult, is to be impeccable with your word. Speak with integrity. Say only what you mean, and avoid using the word to speak against yourself or to gossip about others. Use the power of your word in the direction of truth and love. And I started to realize my word, I didn't know what my word was. I didn't know who Tiffany was. I knew who Tiffany was for my mother. I knew who Tiffany was, in a sales environment. I knew who Tiffany was at work. But I didn't know I didn't know what made me tick. And, in order to, in order to uncover your life's purpose, you need to know who you are. That's not true. Sometimes, our purpose can be presented to us in different ways. I look at Miley Cyrus, right? Like, her dad is a singer. She's a singer. So that would have been a really easy transition for her, or path for her, versus if you had a family of, and this is making a lot of assumptions, which, by the way, is another agreement. Don't make assumptions. But an assumption would be like, let's say both your parents are accountants. You can say, like, really logical and pragmatic. If you tell your parents that you wanted to go be a fucking singer and you're going to be a superstar, they would, again, assumptions, there would probably be a lot of dialogue, whether it is vocalized or just, my family didn't use a lot of words. They used a lot of body language. And if anything, the words, which, again, I didn't realize until I had this awakening, words were rarely in alignment with actions. They would say, I love you, but their actions would just be abusive or dismissive or manipulative, which is just like my mother and stepfather and this company I worked for. I mean, they literally, again, that was my karma. We're blind to our own karma. They're the same entity. They're the same energy. And so why I am making this video is I want you to know that you were made for so much more than what your parents or society has carved out for you. Now, will I say it's easy? No. But what is that? Dr. Phil says, how does he say it? He's like, if there's an old saying, that's stuck around, it's probably because it's true. And, fuck, I just lost the old adage. But at any rate, we are made for, like, quit that fucking corporate job. It's killing you. Quit it. And if you're like, I don't know what I'll do, fucking, I didn't know either. Take moment by moment. Start to heal. Start to ask yourself, what do I actually want? Take out that 401k. Use your savings. Sell the house. I fucking did. I sold my house. I literally, like the phoenix rising from the ashes, like a match. Everything that I owned, donated or thrown away. And I sold my house in 2021 and I moved into an RV, a fucking 24-foot RV. It was about 150 square feet, and I lived in that for the past 3 years. And I just moved, like within the last few months. And to some people, that was a choice that I made. I needed to do that. My soul needed to do that. What does your soul need? Another thing that I will tell you, and I think this comes from Don Miguel Ruiz, the same author. How does the quote go? Your body will never lie to you. Go inside and listen and ask, what does this human need right now? What does this human need? Because your body, it's like you could meet somebody. This is another story from Eckhart Tolle. And he talks about meeting someone, right? And you meet somebody and you just don't fucking like them. You don't know why, though. And so the brain starts to try to figure out why. They're really nice, and other people, my best friend really likes them. And so then you start to rationalize the situation. And you put yourself into unnecessary pain and sadness. You're not going to like everybody. In the same sentence, you give permission for not everybody to like you. I can tell immediately, like there's I'd say 2 coworkers in particular, that they just don't really like me. And I don't give a fuck. We're cordial to one another, but, they just don't like me very much. And that's okay. Old me would have tried to win them over, what have you. It just is what it is. And I surrendered to the situation. And who knows, today I could come in to work and have a different experience with them. But it's okay. I can pick up the vibes, and it's not my responsibility to change who I am to them. And also be grateful, because who knows what that person is and how they would be influencing your life if they were more of a key player. And so my guides are, by the way, when I make these videos, my guides are deciding this conversation the whole time. So how I want to finish this video is this. We all have a dream inside of us. Every single one of us. And it doesn't necessarily mean, like, for instance, right now, I'm a sole proprietor. Your dream could involve 10 other people. Like, nothing in life is experienced alone. And we don't do anything alone. We are a collective. And so, I want to give you permission to step out of that programming, to step out of that conditioning, because it's killing us. It's keeping us just dead and dull and angry and anxious. And then we start having physical ailments, because everything's energy. So then our bodies start, for me, fuck, my stomach, oh my God. And even my digestive and elimination system, the amount of times when I worked at the cult, dry heaving, just from the sheer stress that I was allowing to penetrate my energy and the power I had given away. I mean, how much power have you given away? Like, the amount of fear I used to have from the company that I worked for, it was like they certainly had more power. They could treat me way differently than I could ever treat them. You know, it's like I needed them more than they needed me. No, fuck that. They need me more than I need them. And that's the attitude to have. You know, I guess it's like something we could take from Gen Alpha. Isn't that kind of the, one of the things that they say about them? They're very DGAF, don't give a fuck. So please, I ask you, and here's the thing, maybe you are a stay-at-home person. Maybe you're retired. Again, maybe you're not in the workforce. I will tell you this though, what other pieces of programming are limiting you from creating the life that you want to live? Maybe it's relationships you're in. Maybe it's even like the place that you live in. I don't know. What I also do know, just to be, to share is, our environment is rarely ever the issue. It's our perception of the environment that creates, rumination, pain, anxiety, fear. And so I just implore you, quit that corporate job, go find out what song your soul, dances to. One of my favorite quotes is by McCall Erickson, and let me find it here. I don't remember the exact. McCall Erickson. Soul work is not a high road. It's a deep fall into an unforgiving darkness that won't let you go until you find the song that sings you home. It's the magic of personal transformation, the magic of the soul and spirit through the human life. Awakening doesn't just continue up and up. The rat race, the traffic, the shitty fucking coworkers, the draining corporation, them, every fucking week there was some new policy, some new program, and then that was also the dialogue too, we're just excellent at, shifting. It's like they would really, it was such a manipulative place. And I thought I was saving lives. Now I really am. So yeah, let me know how this video resonates with you, and just know that you're safe and that there's nothing wrong with you. I love you. You are loved simply because it is true. And, there is something that you came here on earth to do. And it should be really yummy and get you excited. It's like, what is inspiration to you is hell to me. What is inspiration to me is hell to you. That sounds terrible. And, I'm going to be making a video too here that hell isn't real, because it isn't, but it actually is. Hell is here on earth. That is where hell is. Also, heaven's here too. All right. I love you. Thanks for joining me. See you again soon.